So I'm going to talk about lighting's role in healthy buildings, and it starts with people. And it started off with the change of the nature of office work. Currently, the office work is characterized by solving complex tasks associated with a high degree of autonomy. And that sets more emphasis on the psychological factors of employees, like concentration, like rejuvenation, motivation, and engagement. And as such, these psychological factors become more and more essential for employee effectivity, and with that, the organizational success. And as we are all aware of after today, organizations are also aware of the importance of employee comfort. And they start thinking about investing in solutions for comfort as well, to maintain their competitiveness and while being cost sensitive. And there's a reason for that. Normally I ask, have you seen these numbers? I think I'm the sixth person to refer to these numbers. So I don't need to explain where they come from. But it's interesting to see it from a lighting perspective. Because from legacy, we were actually playing in this field for utilities. We are just bringing the opposite of dark to lengthen the days. And as such, our innovations were also driven by the increase in lumen per watt to reach sustainability goals. Now we have these new technologies like LED and the Internet of Things. And that makes that lighting infrastructure can bring you more value beyond illumination. So if we talk about connected lighting, we are talking about the value that lighting can deliver to space utilization. Human-centric lighting refers to the value that light can deliver to people. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. And it's all about creating indoor environments, creating the right lighting environment that support employees' well-being and their mental resources throughout the day. So I would like to ask to people to stand up who has the same energy feeling as this morning around 10:30. So please stand up, these people who have a similar energy feeling. To ask people to stand up who are slightly less or even very less of energy level than this morning. People stay up. I can't go on. So I hope after this talk you have the answer for that, so please sit down again. So then, in the preparation of my talk, I actually thought, well, let's demonstrate some facts and figures to underpin the importance of well-being in the end. Also, if you have a presentation at the end of the day at a healthy building event, a lot of speakers already helped me a lot in saying how much value there is in employee comfort and well-being. But still, I would like, there was one, Alan, I think, I wrote it down. We referred to the engagement of people, and I want to refer that in this sentence. So Miller actually demonstrated that mentally and emotionally committed people are likely to be the top performers of your organization, but they also will miss 20% fewer days. And actually, as Ellen said, in the UK, only 26% of your employees fall in this segment. So there's a lot to gain. And globally, it's 13% according to Steelcase, actually. And Steelcase also did do a nice market research for 12,000 people. And there they stated that well-being actually amplifies engagement and satisfaction. So apparently well-being and comfort is a very important thing. But what is it? What are we talking about if we say that our well-being is increased, our comfort is increased? How can I design lighting solutions without knowing what the background is? So how do we look at it at Philips? I think office workers' well-being, I would like to define it as a state of physical and mental ease which allows us to feel free from constraint and which enables us to direct our attention to the things that matter most at work and at home. And if you then look at it, there are actually 3 parts of bringing office workers' well-being. It's about physical comfort, cognitive comfort, and emotional comfort. And we have seen examples of them everywhere. Physical comfort is about having the right posture, being able to change a seat, a good desk, a good air quality, and also a good light to see. Cognitive comfort is being able to focus on your task, to rejuvenate, to think, to associate. And emotional comfort has all to do with feeling connected. I think someone said it was only for relations, but I think connections and sense of belonging is also very important for employees in their work. And it has all to do with there. Can we feel connections? So how can light contribute? Well, happily, light has actually 3 functions to people, and they completely relate to these 3 states of physical comfort. Light has this function visual, a biological function, and an emotional function. And I'd like to elaborate a bit more on that, what the mechanism behind these functions are. And actually, by now we know that light impacts people through 2 pathways. First, we have the visual pathway, probably very well known by everyone. We learn it in our biological school sessions. So then light comes into your eye, hits your rods and cones into your retina, and they send out an electric message to your visual cortex where they create an image. Either of a small detail, so how much can you see, or it sends out a kind of visual experience, an association. The second pathway is the non-visual pathway. That goes differently. In 2000, people discovered a third receptor called IPRGC. I will use third receptor. And it's also placed in your retina, but it doesn't send a message to your visual cortex, but actually to your suprachiasmatic nuclei. And from there, all kinds of stimulants are put into your brain, causing direct reactions called acute system. And one is very well investigated. That's the direction to the pineal gland. And that's the place where actually hormones like melatonin and cortisol are regulated. So that is more or less the circadian system that orchestrates our sleep-wake cycle or biorhythm. Now if you then see it, to come back on these 3 functions of light, light is about seeing, light is about feeling healthy and energized, and light is about emotion. How do we react upon a space? So light is about seeing. You might wonder, okay, we know that. Yeah, we know that. But do we understand really the importance of vision? Did you know that 87% of our information actually comes through our eyes? And that it takes 50% of our brain? And I like to share always this picture, because if you look at it, your eyes are starting to hurt. Because your visual cortex is trying to create some kind of image out of it. Does it move? Does it not? It's a picture. So it costs energy. I just flipped through because I'm afraid that you will get a headache in the end. But it means that if you do a nearby task for 8 hours, and the lighting solution or the lighting characteristics is not optimal for your eye comfort, your brain needs to work harder. So it's about cycling your bike with a big headwind. I'm sorry for the Dutch analogy, but it just takes you more effort. So you will get fatigued at the end of the day, and that will make people perform less. And of course, it's very difficult to design for a good visual performance because it depends on the task, it depends on the person, even depends on the time of the day. And I have here just one example related to age, because we also get this really diverse workforce. The orange line is the line for the 60-year-old people. These are 30-year-old people. What you can see is here the ability to see small details. So in that direction you can see smaller details than in that direction as a function of the amount of light that falls onto your desk, on your task. And you can see that the higher age people, they see less detail as compared to the younger age people. Of course, if you increase the light, they can see more as there. Of course, this is not a really new research. I think already in the past, we know that more light you can see more. But the interesting thing of this study is that they also assess the comfort perception, because you can see detail if you work hard. And here you can see that also the higher age people actually have a comfort perception that is higher, at higher light amounts than the younger people. By the way, it's also higher than the current standards. And then you think, okay, what does it matter? Well, these people report, the chance that they report headaches or mental fatigue or stress even is a lot higher, because they need to work outside their comfort zones. Okay, go to light as emotion. It's all about how do you feel a space. A space can feel gloomy or depressed, but it can also energize ourselves. And I think Ranak already mentioned that light does impact a lot of the design. And I think that's true. If you enter a space, you already have a sense of belonging or an association with it. But for lighting design, just in offices, I really like to demonstrate this picture of Daniel Rijbakker. He's an artist, and he plays actually with it looks like if you're in this space that there is daylight entry, but there isn't. It's just an interplay between the gray shades and the soft edges that gives you the perception that you have daylight. And already that makes people feel happy and in a better mood. So you can do a lot with bringing in light conditions or art that bring a perception of, that relates to our unconsciousness, more or less. And the relevance of that I would like to demonstrate with this quote from Jennifer Fitch, that she actually studied a lot of people, and she finds that people who appraise their lighting as good will also appraise the room as more attractive, be in a more pleasant mood, be more satisfied with the work environment, and more engaged in their work. So that matters. Then the third function of light. Light is about feeling healthy. It's about the cognitive comfort part. And I will try to do it quickly. And that has all to do with what light can do, for instance, for concentration. And here's a list of a few proof points that are reported in literature. They come from very controlled laboratory studies or by field studies. And what you can see is that bright light really has proven to enhance the concentration and mood and alertness. Dimmed light conditions are reported to enhance creativity. It's just interacting actually with different parts in the brain. And then for some office studies here, report the effect of dynamic light on sleep quality, for instance, but also on the alertness and performance. And the newest one I got under my attention is actually the one from the US of Mariana Figueiro. She's about to publish this one. So she went out in all type of offices and she measured the light input that people got into their eyes and related with all kinds of questionnaires around sleep and depression and mood. And she found that office workers that had enough light nutrition to keep their biorhythm alive had actually better sleep and less depression. And I thought that's a very strong proof point, isn't it? just going out there with officers that there, measure what people get for light nutrition and see whether it indeed matters. And this is the mechanism behind that sleep related quality. Light has three functions in this feeling healthy space. First of all, the absence of light makes us feel asleep. And that has all to do with that light activates this third receptor, and if it activates, then melatonin is suppressed. And melatonin is your sleep hormone. So at the moment it's not activated, then the sleep hormone will be produced by your body and make you asleep. Then light wakes us up. I think we all experience that. Now the sun goes up again. And that's the reverse mechanism. So if light comes out, it hits that third receptor and it's a signal to stop the production of melatonin. And then we have the function of light during the day. And I think that's really relevant for office lighting design. So what research says is that if you have enough light during the day, preferably in the morning, you fall asleep more easily, you have a better sleep quality, there's less disruption of the evening light. That's nice, because then people can work at home if they have enough light there and still sleep good. And it makes us alert and energizing during the day. I think we experienced that a bit as well today. Well, this mechanism and the research that backs us up from the chronobiologist is so strong that what you can see that in a lot of standards and communities, people are really translating the science into the guidelines for non-visual lighting design into the office space. And of course, WELL is the most famous one, I think, today, because we already heard a lot about the recommendations that are there in WELL. It's all about the light nutrition that really makes a difference, so that's the light that really hits your eye. But there's also in Europe quite a lot of communities that are actually looking into this space. How can we set out a recommendation for that? And the numbers are there, there's still a debate, and people are working on calculators to make light designers it easy to actually act upon this recommendation. So then there are multiple solutions possible to get that light nutrition. It's about daylight, it's about the right lighting conditions. You can design differently, make bright walls, for instance. But the technology that you will find when you search for human-centric lighting or circadian light or biorhythm light is tunable light. So that's a lighting solution or a technology for luminaires where you are able to change the color temperature and the intensity during the day. Or you can also make other propositions. That's called dynamics. And if you design that correctly, you are able to get enough light nutrition. Now, I say if you design that correctly, because there's a lot out there now in the market space bringing dynamics into your office. Some are also related with energy saving, so then they reduce the lighting again. So it's all about a good design. So if you want to make a choice in that, I would recommend to ask the people that offer the solution for this number on light nutrition. So I already got the sign, so I will move forward. Yeah, that's I think what I wanted to say there. So then, having said that, we already mentioned that in the space of lighting can play a big role, and that we, if you can see that these measures are already mentioned also earlier today, that if you bring employees a lot of comfort and well-being, it will result in organizational benefits to attract talent, to enhance performance and engagement. And I think if we are able to look at lighting differently, not as a utility, but really as a tool to enhance the biggest asset of people, then we can transform the workplace from a cost center to an asset. And if you do that, then you actually contribute to organizational productivity via taking care of the best asset of companies, being their employees. And I think that's where I would like to end this presentation with. So thank you for your attention.
Yes, indeed, and we do have time for a question for you, Bianca. Yes. So, who has got that question? A stunned silence. Come on, what do you need to know more about in terms of nutritional light? I thought that was a great phrase, by the way. There's one over there. Okay, so if you, I think, remember to say your name and organisation.
Hello, it's Andy Myton from David Morley Architects. I was really interested in the effect of colour on mood, and I wondered if you could tell us a little bit more about that. The reason being, I noticed that by going out cycling on a Sunday morning, one day I left my clear glasses at home because I'd broken them, put on my yellow fog ones, and I've never taken them off since because I always feel much happier on a morning because my life's brighter than my friends. And I just wondered if there's anything you know that you could tell us about the psychological effects of colour.
Yeah, that's a very good question. It's also a very difficult question, of course. But I'm not sure, maybe I can go back very quickly. If you look into that mechanism of light, this one, I mentioned actually two pathways that are very well understood. And it's the one with visual performance, how well can we see small details, and it's about the circadian system, that the light is the most powerful regulator of our sleep-wake cycle. I just moved a bit fluffy over the other two directions, and it has all to do that the scientists do not know yet the exact mechanism. It interrelates with each other. It's very associative for persons. So if you want to measure it correctly, you have to control if you want to understand the mechanism. So what you can see now out there in literature, that some people do find effects and they make statements on colors or these kind of things, but it's sometimes difficult to reproduce them as well, because then it's not a setting in your research design. So yeah, I'm sorry that I can't give you the design answer. I think that in the end it's also about the brand perception and association of the people when you design for, which is very important. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that. Now, I'm going to wrap up now, actually, Bianca, so that you've done your job exceedingly well, and you're staying for the drinks reception.
Of course.
So, first of all, I want to say thank you all for being as good as you possibly could be in getting to this stage of the event in terms of timeliness. So, to the speakers who you've just heard around acoustics, light, thermal comfort, etc., fantastic, a lot of insight. So, can we just thank the speakers? Now then, just in terms of what we set out to do today and some very quick feedback, I'm really looking for this because I think it will help inform the event organisers as well. And I'm going to work backwards because we did three things we said we were going to try and work out. So, for those of you who are looking for practical advice on what you could do in terms of maybe some quick wins and follow up with your organisations as a result of today, have you got that? Have you felt? Yep. So I've got one person saying yes. So you can stand up because you're that much closer to walking out the door and getting a drink. So please do. No, seriously, please stand up. Why not? Let's have some fun. Let's follow the Dutch. Okay. The other thing was getting information of where to go and who to speak to get advice. So you may not be ready to actually do something. There was quite a few people who wanted that. You're going to be doing a handstand. for those of you who wanted that, have you got that? And how many of you were you? Because you can all stand up as well. Please do. Yeah, okay, so that's right. So look at all these people in the room that we still have yet to satisfy. So here's the trump card. It was the easy one, okay? And if we've failed, you can still sit, you can remain sitting. So there was people who came here to learn something, okay? So to improve your knowledge. So you can all stand up if you have had that met. And for anybody sitting down, there's a gentleman at the back called Ian Davis who helped set up this event. You need to go and speak to them immediately, okay? So I think I've covered everything else off. I'm not going to sum up what we've learnt today, because, I mean, that would just take too long. All I'd like to do is say thank you all very much. Thanks for the hosts, the sponsors, thanks for the speakers, thanks for being a great audience. And for those of you who are able to stay, please come and join us upstairs in the foyer. Thank you all very much.